Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spring 2025 virtual open house for the University of Miami's Rosenstiel School of Marine Atmospheric and Earth Science. I am Dr. Andrew Elmore. I'm the Assistant Dean for Engagement, and we're here today with a number of our faculty, students, and staff to kind of walk you through some of the exciting opportunities that we have on our campus and to talk a little bit about our different graduate degrees. I'm going to give a very brief welcome here, and then I will pass it over to one of the degree programs that is still recruiting up until June 1st, our Master Professional Science program. Then we'll keep on moving through the other things. Maybe next slide. Yeah, so you can see here we'll have Master of Professional Science info for the first part, and then we'll move through a number of the tracks for that. Just some example tracks, not all 15 of them. And then we'll talk about undergrad programs, PhD and MS student experience, and campus resources, MSGSO, and student organizations. And then we'll have 20 minutes for an open Q&A. Go ahead. Thank you. Um, so about the school, our school is founded in the 1940s, gradually has grown over the years to include not just marine station, but atmospheric science, as well as marine geosciences and ocean sciences. Uh, it is the only subtropical research institute of its kind in the continental US. And we have a kind of four-pillar, really great set of goals for the school. The first of which is saving lives through better forecasting of extreme weather, feeding the world by developing fisheries and aquaculture, and unlocking ocean secrets through research on climate, weather, energy, and medicine, and preserving marine species, including endangered sharks, other fish, and coral reefs, of course. So we have four different degree programs. We have our undergraduate degree, which has 6 majors to choose from. We also have our MS degree, which is our smaller degree program for the masters, and the MPS, which is our more popular degree program for the masters. We'll talk a little bit about the differences between those throughout this here, but just suffice to say, they're basically equivalent degrees, just kind of different approaches. And then we have our fully funded PhD program. We also have 5 departments, as you can see: atmospheric sciences, environmental science and policy on the kind of more civil side of things, marine biology and ecology, marine geosciences, and ocean sciences. Why study at our school? I would say the first reason is our wonderful faculty, many of whom are top experts in their fields. We have 100 faculty, and they cover all of the different areas and departments discussed, and a lot of them specialize in kind of cutting edge problems around climate change and other things like that. We also have unique facilities in the United States, certainly. We have the Sustained Wind and Wave Tank. We have a aircraft center for Earth studies, and we have a major research vessel, the Walton Smith, as well as a number of other smaller research vessels. And finally, I would just emphasize that we have a very diverse community and that our students have the opportunity to develop relationships and friendships with people from across the globe, the country, and lots of different kinds of faculty, researchers, and topics. So about our PhD program, you can earn it in 5 years. It includes a research assistantship with salary, tuition waivers, and health insurance. And our MPS degree, which is still open, I just wanted to speak to a little bit, is a innovative kind of flexible master's degree program. It has an internship-based final project that can either be research focused or kind of professional skills focused. So no need for a thesis, not required, but you can do something if you want to. Advanced career-oriented training, and it's on rolling admissions from September 1st through June 1st, so we're still recruiting for it. And you can do full-time or part-time enrollment. Enrollment for courses has to be in person, but your internship can be done anywhere. We have 15 degree tracks, which you can see here, and you can also see on our website, mps.earth.miami.edu. And we have a number of alumni in disparate fields, including places like the EPA, the Florida Keys Marine National Sanctuary, and founders of textile recycling companies. For financing, we offer automatically applied 3 to 6 credit tuition waivers for qualifying students. Those can reduce the cost of tuition by 10 to 20%. Students are also encouraged to seek external funding, paid internships, and normal financial aid. And the deadline, once again, is June 1st. You hear back in about 6 weeks, and you can choose 2 tracks, first and second. GRE is not required. If you'd like to apply, you can go to our website, earth.miami.edu, and on the right side,
Looks like Andrew might have froze. So as he was saying, if you want more information on the MPS program or any of our degree programs, you can check out our website. It's earth.miami.edu. And thank you. With that, we're going to pass it over to our MPS program managers, Chelsea Begnaud and Kela McEntee. Chelsea and Kela, you guys can take it away.
Thank you, Heidi. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll get started on the MPS program presentation. So hi, everyone. Thank y'all for joining us today at today's open house. My name is Kela McEntee.
And I'm Chelsea Begnaud.
And we are the senior program managers of the Master Professional Science program. Chelsea and I are also both alumni of the MPS program, and we are so excited to tell you more about this graduate program. But before we really get started, we wanted to point out that you'll notice our presentation is pretty much entirely comprised of images, pictures, and these are real pictures of our actual MPS students that were taken during the field courses, travel courses, and their internship work. So if you look really closely, you can also spot Chelsea and I in some of these pictures. We just wanted to make sure that we point this out because the MPS program is really designed to give students hands-on experience in their field of choice. And so after this presentation, we hope you have a clearer idea of what that might look like.
Yes, and as Dr. Elmore previously mentioned, the MPS program is home to one of the largest populations of graduate students here at the Rosenstiel School, and it's an accelerated professional science degree program that equips students with not only knowledge from the coursework that they take, but also training and real-world experiences from their internships to prepare them for careers in today's professional science job market. Our students can complete the program in about 15 to 18 months. That's the typical timeline for an MPS student. And they go on to work in various sectors in the professional job market, like nonprofit organizations, industry, local, state, federal, and tribal government entities. And these are a lot of areas where our employment demands are growing in science. So our program offers an interdisciplinary curriculum that provides a holistic graduate education of both theoretical learning and practical applications. As you've seen, we offer about 15 unique tracks to choose from, and some are as specialized as marine mammal science and broadcast meteorology, while others are broad disciplines such as marine conservation and climate and society. Each of these tracks is managed by one or more track leaders that are chosen from the Rosenstiel faculty, and they're experts in their fields of science. If you're interested in taking a look at the recommended courses, the plans of study, suggested plans of study, potential career paths with this track, and additional information for each of these concentrations, we do encourage you to choose the QR code, and it'll bring you to the degree tabs track on our MPS website.
So as Chelsea mentioned, our students typically complete 2 semesters of coursework before beginning their internship phase. And then during their internship phase, that's when they can apply everything they've learned in classes to an independent master's project at the host organization of their choice. Our students can pursue a hypothesis-driven research project, which is similar to an MS or Master of Science thesis project, and that can be potentially published in an academic journal. Or they can do a non-hypothesis-driven project where they solve a problem or create a product for an organization, such as evaluating an existing education program and then providing best practice recommendations, or creating a new aquaculture feeding protocol for hatchery raised fish, or so many others that are beyond even something that we can think of at the moment. So our program does offer flexibility in selecting this internship opportunity, allowing students to choose the location and the duration of their internship, and whatever they choose can be to explore new interests in science. So while the students themselves are responsible for applying to the opportunities and securing their internships, our office does provide resources and guidance to assist with the application process and the internship process overall. And we will be talking about these more in a few slides.
So on to our favorite part of our presentation. As an MPS graduate, one of the things that I appreciated the most about the program was the variety of courses that were offered to students. For me, this really allowed me to explore my interests and discover topics in science that I didn't know about previously. Some of the classes that I really enjoyed and gained a unique skill set from were the citizen science course, marine conservation outreach, and the professional writing and science communication courses. Another thing that I really appreciated that, kept me here in this staff role is the welcoming and fun atmosphere that the Rosenstiel School has and the unique network of connections within our community.
And of course, on this slide, I just love to point out that you can see our lovely Chelsea Begnaud right down here in front of one of the sulfur outputs from one of the islands in the Galapagos, from the Galapagos class that we offer. So now to my experience. I really appreciated that this program allowed students of all different backgrounds to come in and kind of learn on the same playing field. So my undergraduate degrees are in public health and in psychology. But even with those social science oriented degrees, I was able to come into the marine science track, or the marine conservation track, excuse me. And my background actually did contribute to diversifying our class discussions and having more interesting learning experiences between my classmates as well as my faculty members. And I learned that other students in my classes had degrees that were in humanities and physical sciences and things that were all kind of like within that spectrum. And so I liked that I could learn not just from my classmates and the faculty, but also my unique experience helped them learn as well. And then also I really like that the program is so flexible. So it allows students with different backgrounds and interests to take classes that will specifically prepare them for a career that they want to pursue after graduation.
So we here in the MPS office know that navigating an accelerated and flexible graduate program can be confusing or challenging at times. So we offer our students 2 resource libraries to support them throughout their time in grad school. On the left, our first library houses resources for students to be successful during their time in grad school. And we offer seminars such as career paths in professional science and proposal and report writing and many more. And all of which can be seen on the left screenshot. We also have a professional development library, which is our one-stop shop for all things internship and career related. In this library, we include internship and job openings through our postings digest. We also have a list of job boards and listservs, sample resumes, other resources to help you navigate your internship and your career search while you're a student and as a recent graduate.
Yes, and these libraries are available to students once they're registered for classes for the incoming cohort. So the MPS website contains a lot of information for both prospective students and current students. And for prospective students, we wanted to bring your attention to the prospective students tab, which we have QR coded right here as well. For some of the helpful resources, and especially these 6 that we mentioned or that we have highlighted here at the bottom right of this slide, show some of the resources that we end up referring students to the most. So you can kind of get ahead of the game by exploring these on your own time. And we hope that you will see these and then want to join us in our fall 25 cohort. Our application deadline, as we mentioned already, is June 1st. And if anything that we've said today has you wondering more things or has more questions, we do offer MPS virtual drop-in hours for prospective students on select Fridays for the rest of the spring semester up until May 30th, so just before the application deadline. So you can scan the QR code at the bottom left of this slide to see more information about the MPS virtual drop-in hours, which are hosted by Chelsea and me. So you can get some one-on-one time with us directly. These drop-in hours do not require an appointment, and anyone who comes in, we keep the meetings private, so it's one-on-one sessions, and you may be waiting in the waiting room for us to allow you in.
So after learning all this wonderful information about the MPS program, we hope that you'll consider us for your graduate studies. One of the best parts of Kela and I's job is to get to know our students and help nurture their interests. We are available to speak to prospective students through those virtual drop-in hour sessions or you can schedule a meeting with us through our Calendly links by clicking on the QR code here. So we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla and Chelsea. And my apologies earlier for dropping off suddenly. My Wi-Fi, for some reason, just dropped off. So hope everything went fine after that. And now I'd like to pass things over to the head of our aquaculture MPS program, Professor John Stieglitz. I'm not sure we can hear you, John.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great. Sorry, my Zoom was a little frozen there for a minute. So thanks so much for joining us. Great lead off in terms of describing the program. Assume you can see my screen here for the aquaculture program. So I'm just going to kind of run you through what this track is about when we talk about the aqua track. So it's a very exciting track in terms of addressing the challenge whereby we need to feed the world and improve human health through use of limited natural resources, right? We only have one Earth. The global population is increasing. We all know the story. So where is this food going to come from? This is exactly what we're addressing within the aquaculture track of the MPS program. It's really a supply and demand issue, right? When you look at aquaculture production versus capture fisheries production, we see that capture fisheries production is really just leveled off. We're not going to pull any more animal protein out of the oceans for the foreseeable future. And that's even with improved fisheries management and conservation initiatives. So really aquaculture, as you've seen, is sort of comprised that has filled that gap, and it will continue to do so, but we need to learn how to do it in a more sustainable way. And in order to do that, that's what we're focused on at the University of Miami. And so aquaculture is the most efficient way to produce animal protein. We see this in this comparative chart here. This is something that these sorts of metrics are things that we learn about within the aquaculture track. And if we're looking at sustainable solutions for producing seafood, it really doesn't get any more sustainable than aquaculture production. At the University of Miami, we have a very advanced marine aquaculture facility located on Virginia Key. It's just across the street from the primary Rosenstiel School campus. We focus on a number of different species there, both marine finfish species as well as macroalgae species, bivalves, our oysters, all sorts of species that comprise, the seafood that consumers are demanding. We also look at research-based solutions to improve aquaculture, looking at environmental sustainability, economic viability, because at the end of the day, if these solutions are not profitable, industries are not going to adopt these solutions, as well as looking into human health benefits and the ecosystem services associated with aquaculture expansion. And so we also look into developing more sustainable seafood supply chains. And we have a hands-on training through all stages of seafood production, distribution, and marketing. So students within the program have the opportunity to learn all different segments of both the production side of things, the science behind it, as well as all the skill sets associated with harvest and market and economic aspects as well. And this is not limited to land-based marine aquaculture production systems. We also engage with ocean-based marine aquaculture production systems. So really across the board, in terms of how seafood is produced, that's what we're addressing within the track. So number of exciting blue economy opportunities. We're at the forefront of these at the University of Miami. And through this experience-based aquaculture program, we have a number of exciting internship opportunities. We do collaborative research with industry partners, and we do a number of different site visits. We like to say that the Aquaculture Network is a global network, which indeed it is. And that provides a unique opportunity for students to tap into that global network and really have amazing internship and job opportunities following as part of their time here and following their time in the University of Miami Aquaculture program. This is a flyer that sort of summarizes some of the different course topics and careers. It's not limited to what you see here, but a lot of this information you'll find on the website as well. And with that, I've provided my contact information here, and the track leaders, I'm sure, will, or the overall MPS office has this information as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Stieglitz. And now we will pass things over to Professor Majumdar from the weather forecasting track.
Okay, thank you, Andrew and everyone. I'm just sharing my screen and just one slide here. So good to talk to you all, and I'd like to just give a little bit of information about our weather forecasting track in the MPS program. As everyone knows, the weather affects us in many different ways, and there's a very large profession that relies on weather forecasts in many different sectors. And so a goal of the program, the main goal, is to prepare students for a place in the profession that could be in the public sector or the private sector, for example. There are many different applications. One which is probably the most well-known is as a public service, and so that's what the National Weather Service does. And several of our graduates have had internships and then have gone into jobs in the National Weather Service. Other applications also include emergency management, agriculture, various utilities such as power, for example, insurance, aviation, construction, and different types of transport such as shipping. One of our most recent graduates in the track just took a job at Royal Caribbean and is their main meteorologist, who's sort of responsible for identifying the ship routes for their cruise liners. And of course, many different types of weather. And so students in the track learn about these types of weather and then get to apply some of the tools to them. Severe weather, marine weather, hydrology, such as rivers, breaking their banks, for example, and being in Miami, of course, are tropical cyclones. So we have close connections with the Hurricane Center as well. Our prerequisites are a bachelor's degree in meteorology or related science, especially with several of our courses that they require a decent mathematics and physics background. What some of our courses include on the more sort of traditional side are atmospheric dynamics, physics, general circulation of the atmosphere. So one gets to really learn how the atmosphere operates. And then there are more applied courses that are more tailored to the profession, and those include weather forecasting, which covers many of these different weather types. Marine GIS, so one gets to learn those skills. And then also sort of following that and various electives, then the internships could be in the weather service, for example, or in our research lab. We have a hurricane research division across the street from us with our faculty, or in various parts of the private sector as well. So several of our students have worked with various companies. Some of our recent graduates have got jobs with them. So that's all that I have. Further details are on the website, including my contact details. I'm around until 12:30. I have another appointment then, but I'll look for any questions in the chat in the next couple of minutes, and we'll address those in the chat as well. But otherwise, feel free to contact me and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Majumdar. And I just want to remind everyone that the Q&A is a place where you are welcome to put in questions at any point during this webinar. So we can save some of them for later if you want to, but if it seems relevant and the professor or track head is here now, then totally feel free to drop your question into the chat and they will do their best to answer it there. So for our next, we're looking at our marine mammal science track, a very popular track with Dr. Maria Cartolano.
Hi, everyone. Let me just share my screen really quick. All right. Can you see my slides okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm Dr. Maria Cartolano. I'm the track leader for the Marine Mammal Science track. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Marine Biology and Ecology. And I also run an outreach program called WAVES, and I'm a partnerships and engagement coordinator with the Robert K. Johnson Center for Marine Conservation. So to tell you a little bit about the Marine Mammal Science track, this is kind of a very niche track where our goal is to give students a really strong background in a variety of fields related to marine mammals. So some of the core courses that are related to marine mammals are listed here. So students will take biology of marine mammals, conservation and management of marine mammals. There's a marine mammal applied behavior analysis and managed care course where students are working hands-on with bottlenose dolphins at a local nonprofit that has bottlenose dolphins and learning a lot about research and what goes into managing their care. There's going to be a new field course offered in the Galapagos. There's a hands-on marine mammal research course taken here in South Florida. There's a marine mammal disease and medicine course that also has a lab component where students often do necropsies. And then there's an applied ocean acoustics. And this is kind of just the courses that are really applicable to marine mammals, but there are so many other courses that I'm sure you've heard about from other professors that students can take within this track. So we do allow for students to be able to take electives and get other practical skills like GIS, statistics, population assessments. So that way you get a really well-rounded background in a lot of different fields that are applicable to marine mammals. Our goal always with classes, with networking, with internships, the goal of my track is to really prepare you with as many practical skills that will make you competitive in the marine mammal science field. So just a general list here, but there's plenty more of some of the practical skills that you'll gain within the track include acoustic software analysis. You'll learn a variety of different field research techniques through some of those courses that I showed on the last slide. Behavior analysis, training and behavior modification. We work with FWC to get trained in manatee response. We work with a variety of partners to get trained in cetacean stranding responses. So if there's any strandings in South Florida, you are trained to respond to them. Necropsies, scientific boating, and then we like to provide a lot of networking opportunities. So a couple years, for example, ago, we had the CMAMS conference located here at Rosenstiel that students got to volunteer at. We also have a variety of networking opportunities through guest speakers and other events where students get to meet a lot of marine mammal experts in the field. I also always try and work in a lot of networking opportunities into a lot of my classes with a lot of guest speakers. The marine mammal students are also highly engaged in community outreach and science communication. So they're always doing activities and presentations for the public, for K-12 schools, to improve the communication of conservation of marine mammals. And students, with that goal of their courses giving that really strong background in a variety of fields in marine mammal science, our students do a lot with their internships. And so I've included here just some general topics that they've covered within their internships and for their projects. This is not an extensive list, and it's really hard to summarize because our students go all over the world and do some of the most amazing work with all marine mammal species, from cetaceans, pinnipeds, sirenians, polar bears, sea otters. So there's a variety of what they can do. So some examples are field research and population studies. I've had some students do drone sampling with bottlenose dolphins, lots of photo ID studies on bottlenose dolphins. We've had students do body conditions and photo ID of blue whales, telemetry studies, tagging. We had one student analyzing data from melon-headed whales last year of their dive behaviors. A lot of students also like to go to organizations that are connected through stranding networks for their internships, where they do rescue, rehab, release, as well as necropsy health assessments. And oftentimes with their projects, they may analyze stranding data to look at trends. Veterinary managed care. So a lot of students will use our track as a preparation time for veterinary school, but we also have a lot of students in general who are just interested in veterinary and medical and managed care. And so they do those types of projects, training, medicine, diagnostics, welfare projects for their internships. Behavior and acoustics. Acoustic is a really valuable tool and field to get into. And so there's a lot of training and opportunities there with internships. Same thing with genetics, ecosystem health studies. We have quite a few students go into education and outreach, as well as conservation and policy. And then just to end, I do want to just highlight a couple of examples of careers that students will go into after the marine mammal science track. And this, again, is not a comprehensive list. It's just to give you an example. But we've had students go on to become aquatic veterinarians and technicians, stranding biologists and stranding coordinators, research assistants, photo ID technicians, environmental consultants, trainers and animal care specialists, necropsy technicians, and policy advisors and analysts. And they work at all variety of different types of organizations, nonprofits, research organizations, stranding organizations, academic research institutions, government agencies, and zoos and aquariums. So our goal really with the marine mammal science track is to give you a lot of experience and a lot of varied experience so you can really find what that niche is that you really want to aim for with your career goals and make sure that you're getting the applied experience for that.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Cartolano. And we'll move along now to our another marine biology track, Tropical Marine Ecosystem Management, with Drs. Evan D'Alessandro and Claire Dell.
Thank you, Andrew. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about tropical marine ecosystem management track that we have here, also housed inside marine biology and ecology. We call it TME for short. There goes my video. Awesome. Okay. So just a little bit about the track itself. So for admissions, what we look for, you guys can look up the specifics of exactly what the track is about and, what we look for admissions, our mission, all of that online easily. But I thought I'd give you a little bit beyond what's online. So some tips for applying. A marine biology background, and especially a BS in a biology type subject, is a big leg up when applying to TME, but it's not necessary. We have people successful in our track from a lot of different backgrounds. So if you don't have this, don't worry too much. What we look for more than that is really a solid performance in STEM classes. So anything science, technology, engineering, math, kinds of subjects. And we look for your performance in those classes. And if you've done pretty well, it stands to reason that you're going to do pretty well in this track as well. We also look for beyond just academics, if you've done any volunteering or work in labs or in field work. So curriculum. So when you get here, what you'll learn in this track. In the classroom, in the lab, we have a lot of classes offered in biology, ecology, statistics, management, and policy. So really just from the title of the track, you can glean, that we're trying to train future managers and future leaders in marine biology and ecosystem management here. And in the field, we have a lot of focus on training people to become AAUS divers. So what's AAUS? That stands for the American Academy of Underwater Scientists. This is a reciprocity, not a certification, that you really can't get anywhere. You can't go into your local dive shop and ask them to give you AAUS reciprocity, even though it is required for most professional scuba diving when you're doing anything in science. So anytime you work at a university or a government agency, or even a lot of private agencies now, they're going to require AAUS reciprocity. And the only place you can get this reciprocity is at a university like the University of Miami that has a big AAUS program. Or if you get a government job, they can get you what's called a blue card certification, which gets you this reciprocity. So we do offer that in our diving classes, and you can become a scientific diver. We also offer a boating class, and it's one of the only boating classes in existence where we actually give you lots and lots of hours behind the wheel on a boat, actually learning how to boat and learning best practices for science being done off of boats, small boats, that is. And then there's a whole slew of field-based and field-aimed classes that we have here. So we're trying to give people a lot of practical skills, a lot of hands-on skills in this track. And then after graduation, this is always a big question that people ask. And it's kind of a loaded question because it would be impossible for me to fit in just a couple of minutes all the diverse things that our graduates go on and do. Here's just a couple of different job titles that we see our graduates often sort of move into after they leave us. you'll see a whole lot of government representation in the little symbols that I put up in the upper right, because this is a track that actually feeds into government positions very, very well and very nicely. But we also have people going into a whole variety of private sector jobs, as well as this track has a great representation of students transferring over to a traditional MS while they're here, or moving on to do a PhD either here or elsewhere. So this track actually feeds very nicely into other academic pursuits. And I thought I'd give a quick word, since I'm sure it's on everybody's mind, that the federal government right now probably is a little bit less than what we want to call stable, and probably heard about people getting laid off from federal jobs. I actually see this as a tremendous opportunity moving forward, especially for people just approaching their professional careers at this stage, because there's going to be a whole lot more need of people in these agencies now that some have left voluntarily or been let go. And so I think there's going to be a whole lot more opportunity in the years to come in these fields. So this is actually a good time, I think, to come and get training in these fields and move on to jobs that require this kind of training. So that's all I have. I will go ahead and turn it back over to Dr. Elmore to go on to the next track.
Thank you so much, Dr. D'Alessandro. And we will, for our next track, be looking at one of our largest tracks, which is marine conservation, with Dr. Catherine MacDonald.
Hopefully we can see that.
Yes.
Cool, great. Hi, everyone. I am Catherine MacDonald. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, not because you'll necessarily end up working with me specifically, but because I think one of the most important and valuable things about the Rosenstiel School is the relationships that it allows to occur between students and faculty, right? In general, I know all of the students in the marine conservation track by name. I know what they're trying to accomplish in their careers. And to me, that's one of the most beneficial things we offer, right? Are those relationships and our own networks that can connect students to opportunities. So I am a research assistant professor at the University of Miami, and I'm the director of the Shark Research and Conservation Program. The pictures in my slides are going to be very sharky. That's not a function of the marine conservation track, which is the most flexible and diverse of the MPS tracks, in my opinion, but a function of the pictures that are on my computer, because I am primarily a shark ecologist. So the marine conservation track is really geared towards people with the widest range of interests. So folks who are interested in professional careers in science communication often come through our track. People who are interested in careers in education, both in the field and in the classroom, and people who are interested in working in policy and management, often including field work for organizations like state agencies, which is something that many of my students have gone on to do. So my lab specifically works with sharks, but students within the marine conservation track often have particular interests in sea turtles, in marine mammals, in policy and management, MPAs, that they're very able to pursue through the track because of its flexibility. My specific research interests are mainly focused around shark and ray ecology, biology, and conservation, tropical marine ecosystems, the effects of tourism on ecosystems and wildlife, the human dimensions of conservation, including fisheries management. So in addition to my biological and ecological work, I do work with fishing communities in the Eastern Caribbean. And I'm happy to answer any questions about any of that in the chat and Q&A, including questions about the track. So one of the reasons that the marine conservation track is so flexible is that we have only 4 hard course requirements. And that is that you're going to take marine conservation biology with me in the fall, which is a class that's really built and designed to introduce you to the practices of graduate school and how to operate in science. We're the most common track for career switchers or people with undergraduate degrees that are not necessarily related to marine science, because we help build that essential foundation to do marine science related work. You must take a law or policy course to complete the marine conservation track, but there are a wide array of them that kind of meet different people's needs. So Dr. Cartolano's marine mammal conservation class would likely meet this requirement. Any policy class with Dr. Shivlani, who teaches courses on MPAs and international ocean law is appropriate. You need to take a science communication class, although there are a bunch of 1-credit options in addition to 3-credit options, courses like citizen science or science communication and outreach. And you're required to take a technical skill. I often encourage my advisees for that to be statistics, because if you plan to work in science, at least basic statistical competency is essential. But there are many other courses, including field courses, that can also meet technical skill requirements. So students are typically working with their advisor to construct a degree that will really move them forward in their career path rather than fit them to something that we envision. And students in the marine conservation track often go on to work in education and outreach, both sort of in formal and informal roles, including in things like social media management or education for large aquariums, research and management, which often includes field work, and policy and management, which typically doesn't. A lot of students in the track go on to work not just for federal agencies, but also for state management organizations. And so there are a really wide array of opportunities that our students pursue, and I'm happy to talk more about that either in the Q&A or if you want to shoot me an email. Just to give you a little bit of a sense of what being in my lab looks like, we do about 100 days of field work a year. So interns in my lab are in the field pretty often, and we also offer field courses teaching shark research skills to all MPS students. So every student in the MPS program, if they want it, is able to sign up for a course that teaches them how to work responsibly with marine animals in the field, and that includes 7 field days with my team. I'm really happy I'll be in the chat for at least the next 15 to 20 minutes, so if you do have questions about the marine conservation track, please ask me there.
Thank you so much, Dr. MacDonald. And again, just a reminder, you can put questions into the chat and the professors and staff that we have here will be happy to answer them. Next up, we're going to talk a bit about our undergraduate program with Associate Dean Larry Peterson.
Let's see, wait. I'll be there in a second.
Okay.
Oh, there we are down there. Come on. Is that showing up?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm Larry Peterson. I'm a professor of marine geosciences at Rosenstiel. I've been there for a long time. I'm the one old guy that'll talk to you today. I'm also currently the associate dean for the undergraduate program. Rosenstiel, Miami has had an undergraduate program since the late 1970s. We were one of the first universities in the country where you could actually major in marine science in college before going on to grad school. We have a program today that has over 500 undergraduate majors distributed between 6 different sort of tracks, as I'll show you in a second. We take sort of a very hands-on approach. I mean, Miami is a great place to get students into the field. We have a number of sort of fairly unique offerings that we pursue, and about 80% of our students actually get involved with research at some time during their tenure here at UM. The undergraduate programs we have are listed here. When the program was first set up in the 70s, it was set up so you could only do marine science if you coupled it with a second major, and that is still an option, a popular option today. You can do marine science with a full second major in biology or chemistry or physics or math or computer science or geology or biochemistry. There's a whole host of options. Meteorology, you can do a Bachelor of Science in meteorology. Marine biology and ecology is our most popular track. This is a single major track, but it provides plenty of opportunities for pursuing research and additional minors and even additional majors. Geology you can do as a single major or a double major. Oceanography is a single major. Marine affairs is our one Bachelor of Arts program, which is more sort of the social science side. So for students who are interested in policy or management or, ocean law, that kind of approach, that's a perfect opportunity for them. We've been around long enough that we have a really good track record of sending students off to top graduate programs. We put people in the medical school, vet school, And, upon graduation, students often end up in, pursuing education, research, or, government and private industry. The undergraduate program is largely based on the Coral Gables campus, the main campus for UM. The Rosenstiel campus, which you can see on the right, again, is primarily the research and graduate campus, but undergraduates are part of the community and you have plenty of opportunities to get out there. It's 8 miles away from the Rosenstiel campus, but a shuttle connects the two campuses so you can go back and forth. We teach our freshman labs on the Rosenstiel campus, and we're doing more and more upper level undergraduate teaching out there. And also for anyone doing research with a faculty member, usually they're conducting that in Rosenstiel labs. One of the things we do, which is kind of unique, is we have a handful of ship days on our research vessel, the Walton Smith, that are dedicated to sort of undergraduate training cruises. We do 6 of these a year where students get the opportunity to go out into the Gulf Stream, out into the Straits of Florida, and learn how to do ocean science, deploying instruments and collecting samples and whatever. And a lot of that material that gets collected comes back and gets analyzed in other classes. So, for example, water samples are analyzed in the chemical oceanography lab. We have a unique study abroad program that we created. We've run this for 15 years. We do it both semesters. As an undergraduate, you have the opportunity to spend a full semester in the Galapagos Islands, taking a suite of courses taught back to back by Rosenstiel faculty. Students live with local families, host families in the village. We have sort of a variety of courses that are all focused on Galapagos. There's a community service component. And again, this is a very popular program. Something called Saltwater Semester has been around for a couple of years. This is one of our attempts to, do more of the teaching on the Rosenstiel campus. We always have this commuting issue because of the separation between campuses, but Saltwater Semester students all take the same suite of courses, so it's similar to Galapagos. That way there are no schedule conflicts and students can spend, most of the week, in the classroom and labs out at the Virginia Key campus. If you're interested in more information, I would suggest going to our website. You can either get to it at the link here in the lower left, or just go to the Rosenstiel homepage and look for academics and undergraduate programs. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. My contact information is in the website. So that's about it. Thank you very much for your attention. And even though I know this open house is geared more for sort of the MPS students interested in the MPS program, again, if you have younger siblings, feel free to tell them to check us out.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Peterson. And up next, we have one of our current PhD students, Fabrizio Lepiz Conejo, who's going to talk about life as a PhD student. Also, Fabrizio, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can see your screen fine.
Okay, perfect. So hi everybody, my name is Fabrizio Lepiz Conejo. As Andrew mentioned, I'm a PhD student here at the Rosenstiel School. And I have a very short time to get through what I wanted to show you guys, so we'll try to make
I'll give you an extra couple of minutes, just FYI.
Okay, perfect.
Like till 12:50.
All right, great. So first, I kind of wanted to give you guys a little background on myself. I actually followed a pretty non-traditional path to get to where I am today. I graduated from Villanova University as a finance and econ double major, spent 6 years working at GE Capital, JP Morgan, and Abbott before deciding to make a transition to marine science. In order to do that, I went back to community college, did that for a year, and then I was accepted into the MPS program. And so I joined that in August 2021. And that was kind of the beginning of my foray into the Rosenstiel School. I volunteered at the hatchery during my first semester. The experimental hatchery that we have here is a great resource for students. Then in March of 2022, I was hired on to the Coral Reef Features Lab as an MPS intern, and then did my internship. And then after the internship, I worked with Dr. Baker to transfer over to the master's track. And then after fully doing a master's project with him, he offered me the opportunity to stay on as a PhD student, which was an opportunity that I couldn't deny. So that is kind of overall story on how I got here. So a little bit of what I actually do. So there's obviously, as a PhD student, what you're looking to do is run experiments and figure out cool new things in the marine science world. So for us, that looks like running thermal stress assays to see how we can how some of the interventions that we work with can influence thermal tolerance. So I've run several of these thermal assays to see how the things that I've been doing out in the field help bolster coral thermal tolerance. We've done some reciprocal transplants to see how different environments affect things like coral growth, survivorship, and symbiont communities. We've done sea bass, which is a portable, standardized way to assess coral bleaching in remote locations. So we've run several of those experiments on board ships in Honduras, up and down the Florida Keys, and in the Dry Tortugas. Currently, I'm actively looking into the best way to incorporate corals emerging from the dredging of Port Everglades into restoration pipelines, which is really exciting. And obviously, this comes with lots and lots of field work and lots of hours underwater. I've been fortunate to do through my PhD to have done field work in the Dry Tortugas, Honduras, and the Florida Keys, while other members of my lab have gotten to go to places like Panama, the Bahamas, Bermuda. So the opportunities for you to do really cool work and lots of field work are abundant. With that though, it also comes the kind of sciencey part of it, right? And the molecular piece. So my lab does a lot of also, it's like 50-50 between lab work and field work. And so this is just to show you a little bit of the lab work that we do to really produce some of the things like this, which is an NMDS showing symbiont proportions in Honduras, or things like this, which is just, another data sheet which shows the proportions of symbionts in throughout various time points in Peanut Island. Along with that comes the whole communication piece, right? So outreach is very important in our field. I got to meet Anderson Cooper through a really cool opportunity that he came to do a documentary on the work that we do. So outreach is really important. I mentioned the research cruises. So whether it's the Walton Smith or the ones that we've done with Shed, there are also some opportunities for you to get involved in like really cool research. TA ships. So you heard earlier the mention of saltwater semester. I've been a saltwater semester for 2 years in a row, and I've absolutely loved it. I didn't think I was going to like being a TA, and it's so worth it. It's such a great experience. I really kind of cannot enforce how awesome it's been. And then conferences, gotten to present at 2 international conferences now, and several local ones, which has been really great to kind of publish, to help your public speaking and everything along that. So just a little thing to end with. So what's made my Rosenstiel experience so unique? Very hands-on. It's super collaborative, not only within people in your own lab, but within other labs and other members of the community. Rosenstiel has an incredible community built around it, and that's been a highlight of just my time here as a whole. The creativity with your research and the ability to come up with your own projects. The resources that we have are at our disposal are second to none. Honestly, for corals in the coral world, if you're looking into coral, there's really no better place to go. And then job opportunities. So we heard mentioned, like NOAA partnerships around here with the federal government. There's a lot of opportunities for us in Florida once we're done with our programs. So if you have any questions, I believe my information's in the chat, and if not, I will definitely put it there. But feel free to reach out. Happy to talk to you on the side.
Thank you so much, Fabrizio. And now we will turn things over to talk a little more about campus resources and student life. A current MPS student, Victoria Spadaro.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So hi everyone, I'm Victoria and I'm going to talk a little bit about campus resources for students at Rosenstiel. So a little bit about me. I'm originally from upstate New York and I earned my BA in Environmental Studies from Siena College. While I love studying the Adirondacks, my passion for the ocean led me to the University of Miami Rosenstiel School. And this is where I first learned about it during my freshman year through a Siena professor who also had a student who came to Rosenstiel. From that moment, I knew I immediately wanted to apply. So after graduating, I took about a year off and I worked for Wilton Wildlife Preserve and Park as the public program coordinator. This is where I really fell in love with public outreach, education, and science communication. From there on, one of the things I love most about Rosenstiel, the Rosenstiel School, are you guys seeing my slides?
We don't see your transitions.
Oh, that's odd.
I think you're sharing the wrong screen, Victoria.
Let's see. Can you see them now?
Still
No,
just seeing you.
Let me try this again. I'm sorry about that. Can you see my screen now?
see your screen, but it's just showing your desktop. We don't see the slides.
Okay, let me just type it out. I'm sorry about that.
Take your time. There's always some technical difficulties.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. It might be the Wi-Fi. 1 second. Oh no, I'm having a little bit of Wi-Fi troubles. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of Wi-Fi troubles. If we want to move on and then I can come back and fix this. I don't know what's going on right now.
If you're comfortable with moving on without the slides, you can just talk us through the information.
Okay. So let me just pull up the slides again because it exited out.
Alternately, if you want a moment, Victoria, we can go to Amber first.
Yeah, so let's go to Amber and I'll try to download it again. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, perfect. Then we'll come back to Victoria, but for now we'll have Amber Rose, who's also a current MPS student, talking about MSGSO and student organizations. And sorry, Amber, I think I said Rose, but I meant to say Ringle.
That's okay.
On my
Hi,
little
can you
piece of
guys
paper,
all?
it said Rose.
That's okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So hi, my name is Amber Ringle. I am a MPS student in the Marine Conservation track, and I'm also the president of the Marine Science Graduate Student Organization, which is also known as MSGSO. So there are a lot of different aspects to MSGSO, which is one of the things that I really love about this organization. These aspects include mental wellness and belonging events, social and professional development events, and workshops. We also design and sell Rosenstiel merch. We do fundraising for the Student Travel Fund, and we also enhance the student experience by just having several events throughout each of the semesters for people to get involved and kind of be a part of the Rosenstiel community. So we design and sell our own merch, which is sold online. Here are a few of the examples of our merch designs. The one in the middle and the one to the right of your screen are our newest designs, and we're actually working on even newer designs for stickers. We have social events throughout all of the semesters. Some of our most popular events include the Halloween party, which happens every fall semester, which is tons of fun. Everybody dresses up. There's a costume competition. We also have holiday parties at the end of the fall semester. We've done multicultural potluck events. We have a beach cleanup and beach party event in the spring. There are trivia nights, and also we do professional development events such as grant writing workshops. The Sustainability Initiative, their mission is to strengthen the intersection of science and sustainability by building environmental awareness and community through outreach, activities, and seminars. On the screen, you can see some of the really popular events that happen every year through the Sustainability Initiative. We also hold an auction every year. So the auction is extremely valuable to us. It allows us to raise over $10,000 for the Student Travel Fund, also known as STF. And in 2023, we actually raised about $11,000 for the Student Travel Fund since it was our first return back after COVID. This is held at the Wet Lab. And like I said, it's really valuable because a lot of the funds for student travels comes from this event. And there are tons of ways to get involved, from being on the committee for the auction and having a job on the board to being someone who collects donations from different people and different organizations. You could also volunteer leading up to the auction to organize materials, and also volunteering the day and night of to help set up and run the event. So here are some of our board members. So there's a picture of me, I'm the president. There's also Kate Martinez, who is our secretary. Here are some of our committee chairs. There's Natalia Sakari, who's our events chair, Stephen Aiken, who's our merch chair, and Paloma Cartwright, who is our multicultural chair. So there are tons of ways to get involved with MSGSO. There are going to be positions available for the board for the 2025-2026 school year, and there are no prior experience necessary. It's also a great way to earn SCF points. For all the events that we hold, we are always looking for student volunteers to help us set up. And it's really great to just be involved and really immerse yourself in the community. And it's a great way to gain leadership experience and just hone your leadership skills. So if you're interested or would like more information, feel free to reach out through email. You can send any emails to msgso@earth.miami.edu, and we'll respond to you as soon as we see it.
Thank you so much, Amber. Victoria, how are we doing?
Can you see it now?
I can see it. Is it clicking for you?
Yes. Is this great? Is it good?
Looks good.
Perfect. All right. Hi, guys. Sorry, we're going to try this again. So a little bit about campus resources for students. Continuing on. My name is Victoria Spadaro, and I'm an MPS candidate for the Marine Conservation track. I'm originally from upstate New York and earned my BA in Environmental Studies. I went on to be the Public Program Coordinator for Wilton Wildlife Preserve and Park. I absolutely loved learning in the Adirondacks, but I decided I really wanted to go more into ocean conservation. So one of the things I love most about Rosenstiel School is the amount of hands-on opportunities I had. During my first week, I began volunteering at the University of Miami Experimental Fish Hatchery with Dr. John Stieglitz, who you probably heard from earlier. This led to an internship managing the aquaculture Instagram and Facebook accounts, so it really strengthened my science communication skills. I also work in the Dean's Office of Engagement, where I give tours and assist with public outreach events. And a little bit about what Amber was just talking about is I serve as the marketing lead for the Rosenstiel Auction Committee. So we're getting ready for that event April 11th. If you're in town and you're interested in coming to an event, that would be a really awesome one to attend. It will be a lot of fun. Some of my favorite courses include marine conservation biology, elasmobranch field research skills, and that's with Dr. Catherine MacDonald. It was a really great experience where I had hands-on experience with several shark species. We also have the tropical marine biology class where I got to go to Bimini, Bahamas for spring break with Dr. D'Alessandro and Dr. Dean Grubbs. We have the broadening participation in marine science class, and that's with Dr. Maria Cartolano, who you also heard from earlier. And we are getting ready for the WAVES event, the Water Advocates and Visionaries for the Environmental and Sea. So I'm on the media committee for that as well. And we are hoping to inspire the next generation of scientists by bringing them to campus to get hands-on experience in marine science activities. And those are just a couple of pictures that I have from all the stuff I get to do that's really cool on campus and off. So going on to campus tours, we have both in-person and virtual tours, Monday through Friday at 2:30 by appointment only. So those are in-person tours. You can scan the QR code on the screen or look it up on our website. We also have virtual tours, which is 1 hour virtual walkthrough where you can get a little bit more up close with like labs, classrooms, and beautiful views of campus. Moving on to virtual information sessions. So this is where you can schedule a virtual meeting with staff from the Office of Engagement, the MPS program corners such as Kela and Chelsea, current students and alumni. You can get your answers to questions about graduate and undergraduate degrees, application and admissions process, academic departments, research opportunities, financing your education, and much more. I actually did one of these when I first came here and it was super helpful, so I highly recommend doing it. There's also undergraduate tours and info sessions. So if you're interested in touring the Coral Gables campus, this is another great way to see what's going on there. Also, most of our undergrads are starting at Coral Gables. So this is hosted by the Undergraduate Admissions Department Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. and sometimes 4 p.m. We also have spring information sessions January 21st and April 28th. These are live on-campus information sessions Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12:45 p.m. by appointment only, and virtual information sessions on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays by appointment only as well. So you can scan the QR code as well, or you can look it up on the website. So moving on to campus resources. So we have the Rosenstiel School Library, and this is one of the leading marine and earth science libraries in the United States, which is really cool. The Rosenstiel Library provides extensive publications and databases on marine, atmospheric, and earth sciences. Oftentimes, the librarians are better than Google at helping you find the resources, so they'll definitely help you out there. We have a couple available services that are all free with tuition. So we have the interlibrary loan. So this allows you to access materials from other institutions, equipment rentals such as laptops, GoPros, cameras, data services, R, Python, GIS, and other coding support, writing center consultations, and much more. Moving on to the Marine Technology and Life Sciences Seawater Complex, also known as the MTLSS building. It is built in 2014, and this dual-purpose facility supports marine biology research and hurricane studies. So we have a marine biology and ecology wing. This houses live marine organisms, including invertebrates and vertebrates. And a really unique feature about this lab is that the lab pulls seawater directly from Biscayne Bay. It's also home to the SUSTAIN Lab, which stands for Surge Structure Atmospheric Interaction Lab, featuring the world's only wind wave tank capable of generating Category 5 hurricane winds. So that's up to about 155 miles per hour. If you're interested in checking that out, I definitely recommend looking up the SUSTAIN Lab on YouTube. And moving on to Splash, our research dive training facility. So this was built in 2019, relatively new. Splash provides essential scientific diving training for students and researchers. It features 15 feet deep freshwater pool, and there's no shallow end, so this is for safe skill practice. It prepares students for open water scientific diving, and it's really cool because it's the first university to offer scientific freediving taught by a record-holding freediving champion. And then lastly, on this slide, we have the RV FG Walton Smith, which you guys heard a little bit about earlier. This is Rosenstiel's primary research vessel, and it's named after the school's founder. It's a 96-foot catamaran, and it can accommodate up to 19 people. This is perfect for exploring reefs, mangroves, and seagrass beds, all which we have in the Miami area. If you're interested in joining a research expedition, definitely look out for your emails once you are enrolled, and these cruise links can vary. Now we have research labs and centers. So we have the Aircraft Center for Earth Studies, the Barbados Atmospheric Chemistry Observatory, the Cooperative Institute for Marine and Atmospheric Science, and this is a partnership with NOAA conducting research in oceanic and atmospheric processes. So this is a really awesome opportunity that MPS students get to work over there as well. We also have the National Aplysia Lab, the Johnson Center for Marine Conservation, which focuses on research, education, and outreach initiatives. We have the Benthic Ecology and Coral Restoration Lab, the SUSTAIN Lab, which I already went into a little bit. Definitely recommend checking it out on YouTube. And then we have the Center for Aerosol Science and Technology. So all of these facilities play a really important role in advancing marine science and atmospheric research. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Rosenstiel, follow us on our social medias. We have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X. This is where you'll get to learn about the research we're doing, the events that are coming up on campus, and anything else that you want to know about the Rosenstiel School. Thank you for listening to my talk. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at my email at vms135@miami.edu. And I'm also here to stick around if you want to at the end for the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And thank you, everyone. This concludes the speakers that we have and opens us up to the Q&A portion. So if you have any questions, I encourage you to drop them into the Q&A, and we will do our best to answer them either live or typed in the chat. We'll just give it a moment to see whether we have some questions.
I had a question that came through on my end, Andrew, and I think this is for Chelsea and Kela. How is an MPS different from an MS degree at the Rosenstiel School?
That's a great question. I think Kela offered to take that one, so I'll just give her a second to come back on camera.
Hi. Yeah, that is a really great question. It's something that we get a lot from our prospective students. So we have been getting very experienced with how to answer this question. And we've figured out that the best way to think about each program is that while they can qualify you for the same types of positions, the same level of expertise, the MS program is training you more for a research-oriented career, usually something that's more in academia or lab work. Lab can also incorporate field work. And then also an MPS is going to train you more for some of that interdisciplinary combination of managerial and administrative work, along with knowing some of that scientific information that's going to pull in some other skill sets and avenues that you might use in some other sectors that are not just limited to academia. So something like nonprofits, governments, governmental work, for-profit work as well, but both can also qualify you for working in academia and working in research labs, and both can also qualify you for working in nonprofits, for-profits, governmental work, etc.
I'd also like to add here, just to compare the two side by side, both MPS and MS are 30 credit degrees. They're both self-funded. One of the differences is our MPS students are pursuing the program full-time. They typically complete their coursework within the first 2 semesters of the program, whereas our MS students take about a year to 2 years to complete their coursework. Additionally, our MPS students get to choose which internship and job opportunities they apply to in order to satisfy the internship requirement of the program. And that can be with any host organizations in science or science adjacent, locally, nationally, internationally. You could pursue any type of duration that you would like to consider in completing your internship. And our MS students typically are working with a lab on campus. So they are working with the current research objectives or research projects that are going on with that or Rosenstiel faculty member. And the MPS students get to work in collaboration with external organizations if that's what they choose. And I see Catherine probably has something to add. Go ahead, Dr. MacDonald.
Yeah, thanks. The way I explain it to my students is that the MPS is a pre-professional degree and the MS is a pre-doctoral degree. The purpose of an MS is to prepare you to do a PhD, although of course not everyone who gets an MS does that. The purpose of the MPS is to prepare you to work professionally in the field. So they are often interchangeable. I think outside of academia, you're going to be described as a person with a master's in marine conservation. Nobody is going to really specify that because it's not meaningful to anyone but academics. Within academia, if you know you want to go on for doctoral training, either immediately or in the longer term, I think the main distinction in the requirements is that you must do a unit of publishable science to get an MS degree, and you can do a unit of publishable science to get an MPS degree. So many of the MPS students in my lab end up leading or being on publications And some of my former MPS students have gone on to PhD programs, both at Rosenstiel and beyond. And so if you know that that's what you want to do, I would think about whether there's an MS transfer opportunity, which of course isn't guaranteed. But even if that doesn't come up, if you find an MPS internship opportunity that's going to allow you to do publishable scientific research, there's very little difference between a published science MPS and an MS. And I think Kela can speak to that because her MPS with me turned into a scientific publication.
I just wanted to add, I think that was wonderfully said, Dr. MacDonald. I wanted to add that if you are accepted into the MPS program and pursuing a PhD is in your future or something that you're hoping for, that's something we encourage our students to communicate to their assigned academic advisors. That way your advisors are recommending coursework that will set you up to be a competitive applicant for your PhD programs. And we also recommend that students interested in pursuing a doctoral route consider a hypothesis-driven project when it comes to their internship project.
Great, thank you. I think we have another question that Dr. MacDonald is answering about the requirements for the internship reports and how they would look. It just disappeared for me. Sorry, I think it was just answered.
Sorry, I hit enter. We give you a formatted template for what both of those look like, and essentially it's a more thesis-like, hypothesis-driven paper write-up, or it's a more process-oriented report on activities that you undertook. They're very similar in length. They both expect like a high quality of scientific writing, but they're just structured a little differently.
And then we have another question about federal loans and financial aid. And essentially, I think this is primarily about the Master Professional Science as far as I can tell. In general, the way that graduate degrees are set up at the Rosenstiel School and at many other institutions as well is that PhDs are often fully funded because they tend to be much longer. In our case, we have guaranteed funding for PhD students for 5 years so that you don't have your funding disappear midway through your degree or something like that. With our MS opportunities in general, there is not funding for them and they are usually self-funded. And with MPS opportunities, those are also self-funded. There are a few differences in terms of potential financial aid opportunities with that. One of which is simply that if you have a GPS of what am I talking about? GPA of 3.3 or higher, then you're eligible for a automatic 10% discount on the cost of your tuition. And if you have a 3.6 or higher, you're eligible for a 20% discount on the cost of your tuition. And then even if you have a 3.0, but you opt to take the GRE, which is an optional thing we don't require for admission, but you can optionally take it if you would like to qualify for the 10% and you are a person with a 3.0 to 3.29 GPA, let's say. Then you would need to reach a score, I think, combined of 297. And the same can go for the 3.3. You can get the 20% if you take the GRE optionally and get a combined score of 308 or higher. So there is an opportunity in some ways for the MPS to be a more cost-effective master's degree at our school than the MS. The other thing that we have, which is no longer open for this year, but historically is usually open until around March or April, is the Opportunity Award, which is something that can cover up to 80% of the cost of the degree. So other than that, most students are taking out federal loans, using personal monies, or getting funding from outside sources. And that could be outside funding applications or something else. Yeah, there's a little more about it on our financial aid site on the MPS website as well. The tuition discounts, if it's a 6-credit tuition discount, then you get it applied over 2 semesters, 3 credits in the first semester, 3 credits in the second semester. And if it's a 3-credit tuition, then it's just applied in your first semester. Any other questions?
I answered it in the chat too, but somebody asked about the process of finding internships and whether we just give them a list to choose from. And the answer is MPS students are in the driver's seat of their experience. So we provide a lot of support and resources for identifying and applying for internships. Chelsea and Kela run incredible workshops for you all on how to find an internship. They send out internship listings. They give support with things like developing CVs, resumes, cover letters for those applications. But students are in the best position to figure out what skills and experiences they want to build through their internships. And so typically that's something that's done at the individual level, although there's a lot of structured support for it from the school.
And I would emphasize that that's also the case for job opportunities that come up as people are finishing up too. I see quite a lot of listings regularly. Any other questions? If not, I think we can call it a day and say thank you so much for participating in our open house, both our panelists and our guests. I'm really grateful that you are all able to kind of join us and share your experience or hear more about us. And if you do have questions or follow-ups, just check out our website, earth.miami.edu, where it has lots of information on our graduate programs and our undergraduate programs. All right, everybody, thanks so much.